The war is finally over. We can finally celebrate Gapryung's fist reclaiming Seoul and Korea. The gang is now discussing the aftermath of what just happened, and Gapryung is very, very tired from what he just endured last night. We all know he's a man of the women. He loves women, and we know what happened last night with him and Rei Yamazaki. So the Yamazaki have only been defeated in Seoul. They haven't been defeated in all other cities, so in Korea they're still much relevant. However, in Seoul the Yamazaki are now no longer a presence. They beat them, and they want to set a reminder that yeah, they did beat Genzo here. But the one problem they're having is, what do you do about the surrendered Yamazaki, the ones that are in Seoul right now and have lost? There's still a lot of remaining members left. That's when Charles Choi brings up the idea of executing every single one of them. But that's pretty crazy, I'm not gonna lie. This guy's straight up evil, and everyone in the Gapryung's Fist Gang is like, he cannot be serious. There's no way we're gonna execute all of the members. And Charles Choi says, yeah, we should do what they're doing to us. They executed a bunch of us. We should execute them because we're just playing their game. I mean, logically, I guess it's fair, but like, in a moral perspective, Jin Young is not about that. He asks and questions Charles' morals and why he's even here, because although Jin Young is the one to recruit him, he doesn't understand why Charles is still sticking with them after he completed his goal. And Charles starts shitting on Jin Young, says he lives in an idealistic world, this world is not that nice, and you can't just have romanticism basically triumph all. But that's when Gapryung, the leader, has to step in and make a decision. Jin Young asks Gapryung, well, what do you think we should do? Should we execute them, or should we do my plan and not execute them? I guess he doesn't really have another plan, but he doesn't want to execute them. And Gapryung thinks about it. He doesn't really think because he knows what he wants. He says he obviously does not want to execute them. He lives in a world filled with romance, and romance can triumph all. So this is when they have a little altercation. Charles does not agree with the plan of not executing them, and he gets pissed off. And he thinks that these guys are way too soft. Gapryung and Charles are too soft. They're not living in reality. They're just living in this delusional world. That's when he gets up and leaves. He says, fine, have it your way. I'm leaving. I'm out of here. And that's when he parts ways with the Gapryung's Fist Gang, just like that, because I guess he's too cold-hearted. And on his way out, he sees Unha. They lock eyes for a bit. You know, there's definitely some tension there, especially during the last fight they had against the Yamazaki. I don't know how this is going to progress into a romance, but I'm excited to see what happens, because we know that Unha and Charles end up getting together and having Crystal Choi. I mean, Crystal looks kind of like her mom, honestly. So with Charles gone, they stick to the original plan, and the original plan is basically just to tell everyone in Seoul that Seoul has been reclaimed and the Yamazaki are no longer a threat. So Tom proposes an idea to use his beggars to basically have parades around the city and singing songs about how they defeated the Yamazaki. So all the beggars come and get together. This leader beggar is so jacked. He's like the leader of the beggars, I guess. He's not Tom, it's this guy. I don't know if he's relevant in the story, but he's leading everyone and cheering that the Yamazaki are gone. They're all singing with pots and pans, and this brings up a lot of commotion around Seoul because people are now getting word that, wow, the Yamazaki have been beaten by this one guy called Gapryung Kim. And Gapryung starts gaining more aura. He starts getting really well known, especially once all the beggars start going to different parades. So there's a few easy steps of this plan. The first is to ruin the morale of the Yamazaki. The remainders is basically just to tell them that their leader is gone and they have no place to go. Not only that, but this increase of morale for Koreans will end up building an army for Koreans to drive out the remainders of the Yamazaki clan. So all of the heroes that were too scared to fight are now willing to fight because they have someone to go behind. They have Gapryung Kim who's rallying everyone together. And with this, all the fighters of Seoul come out and start beating the other Yamazaki's ass. The remainders, the remnants of the Yamazaki clan, Seoul people start coming out from the shadows and beating their asses. So over the next few days, Seoul is overturning and getting reclaimed by the Koreans. The Yamazaki are getting defeated and everything's looking really good. A lot of heroes come out of the shadows. I don't know who this guy is. This guy in a suit looks pretty important. We don't really get an introduction. But yeah, the Yamazaki are just getting embarrassed now, and this is definitely getting to Shingen because this is being publicized everywhere. Publicized that the Yamazaki have fallen from Seoul. That's pretty big. One guy reemerges. He is the wielder of the Hwarang sword. This is Gu Kim's teacher. and he is pretty OP. Like, honestly, if he joined the fight against Kenzo Yamazaki, he could have done serious damage. So this is a Hwairang gang. He comes out, he respects Gapryong, and he's also on the Seoul side because he's Korean, obviously. His name is Bang Ho Lee, and he says that the Hwairang clan should be embarrassed because a nameless man defeated Genzo Yamazaki, and it was not him. Because he says a big goal of the Hwairang clan is to find the sword Muramasa. The wielder was Genzo Yamazaki, and now it is in the hands of Shingen Yamazaki. So I think Bang Ho Lee, the leader of the Hwairang clan, is really determined to defeat the Yamazaki as well. I mean, this chapter was really not that exciting. It was just a lot of exposition and talking between people. But we finally get Shintaro and Shingen in their primes. We finally see them. Shingen looks a lot like Gun, especially in some frames, you'll see. And he finds out that his uncle... This frame looks like Gun, right? Well, he finds out his uncle was killed. And he's laughing because he's just like, well, that guy was weak anyway. Like, I think internally, he definitely is sad about it, but his Yamazaki nature just forces him to not really care. So he finds out about his uncle's death, and he finds out that the culprit is Gapryong Kim. And we get to a frame of him basically rizzing up women again, saying that his name basically means dragon's head. Gapryong is a dragon's head. And Shingen knows that Gapryong is a mighty dragon to slay. He says he's beaten a tiger before. What difference is a dragon? He now has his eyes locked on Gapryong Kim, and he wants to slay the dragon, basically. So now we're at a bar. Everyone's very cheery because Gapryong just basically took out the Yamazaki in Seoul. And Charles Choi just has to witness this because he had a falling out with the gang, and he's just like sitting there drinking his drink. Some guy approaches him, asks if the seat is empty, and Charles Choi says, yeah, go ahead, just do whatever you want. And this guy comes up, insane aura. He orders a whiskey, and he talks to Charles Choi. Says, do you really think Gapryong can win against the Yamazaki? Do you really believe that? Do you really think he's doing the right thing right now? And this guy says, Charles Choi, I know who you are. I know you live in reality, similar to me. Why don't we talk about reality over romance? And he introduces himself, well, I guess the panel introduced himself as Gibok Jang. He's an assemblyman. We've seen him before. He looks very, very professional. Kind of looks like Charles Choi, like with that glasses and everything. Kind of looks like Policeman Jay as well. And this is when Charles Choi, I assume, gets his political ties, because this guy is a pretty high up member of the Korean Assembly, and he has something to say to Charles Choi. They have to work together on some things. And his last name is Jang, so that makes me wonder, maybe he is Eli Jang's father? I don't know, because I guess Eli Jang, we don't really see many Jang last names in Lookism, so I'm just going on, I'm just making theories right now, right? Maybe Eli Jang has some crazy father lore. Yeah, although he's an orphan, you know, but it would be crazy if Eli Jang had a crazy father, because everyone has a crazy dad nowadays, you know. So I assume Eli should have one too. Anyway, that was the end of this chapter. If you did enjoy, hit the like and subscribe button. And let me know what you think of this, where do you think this story is going to go. I mean, obviously, we're going to fight Shintaro soon. Shingen will become lethargic after he loses to Gapryong, and that's when the gun storyline takes place. But yeah, it's going pretty slow, this arc, but you know what, we'll get through it, guys. Peace.